Hi there, welcome to an update in the Kenny Veach case. A new news article has come about online and I want to read it out and analyse just to see if there's any new updates or new information that's been added on, or if any credit has been given to the research I've covered on my channel previously and or other creators. Whilst there are still some YouTubers covering the case on and off and maybe even searching, we've also seen the return of Scott Natal, who recently documented some footage near Jome Gusla, or on the other side of the mountains, similar to what Jeff Clark did previously, 2022 onwards. But it was Scott Natal that ended up encountering, unknown to him, some strange figure, or looking like figure, in the mountains, lurking about in plain sight. Strange discoveries and encounters like that are still documented present day and onwards, continuing the mysteries and the sub-mysteries out there besides Kenny and the M Cave. Does this new article include any of that? Well, join me today as we find out. Let's begin. This is by Vocal Media. The title reads, "The Vanishing of Kenny Veach into the M Cave." Now, first of all, it's a surprise considering they've not used keywords like Area 51 like most media groups like to force it in, even though it's nowhere near the Area 51. But beside that, by wording it as into the M Cave, it's suggesting that that's where Kenny Veach ended up at. But do we really know that for certain? If Kenny couldn't find the M Cave on his recorded M hike, what chance was there when he went back out one final time? The vanishing of Kenny, with a very unusual photo there, which really holds no relevance. But below, in the unforgiving heat of the Nevada desert, a place riddled with stories of lost gold, secret military projects, modern myths. It's interesting to acknowledge modern myths. Of what sort exactly? Maybe what's like what some hikers have documented themselves when out there since. A real-life mystery unfolded, one that would haunt the internet forums, conspiracy communities, here we go again, and wilderness lovers for years. This is the story of Kenny Veach, an experienced solo hiker and adventurer who vanished without a trace in November 2014. After claiming he found a strange, unnatural cave hidden in the mountains near a restricted military base. Oh no, not again. It's not near a military base. You could say it's not too far away from military controlled land, and that the land that Kenny was hiking on, there was a military proposed takeover of that public land after Kenny's disappearance, but never was successful. It reads, a cave that made Kenny's body vibrate and filled him with a terror he couldn't explain. Well, the reason why Kenny Veach felt terror and scared is because he was not prepared. He didn't have his firearm with him. So that's one of the factors. And even Kenny said that himself. Kenny called it the M Cave, and his disappearance is now one of the internet's most unsettling real-world horror stories. But the reason why he called it the M Cave is because, based on the description and similar to what's been documented by the hikers, it shares characteristics of the actual shape and letter, a capital M. But it's not too wide and the height of it isn't great, but you'd be able to fit into it yourself, and it's deep and it's dark. Then, descriptions by Kenny did differ throughout his hike, and he did contradict himself, despite what some of the humans out there believe, who say Kenny didn't contradict himself. He did. Kenny was 47 years old, lived in Las Vegas, and was known online as Snakebit McGee. By all accounts, he was intelligent, physically fit, and deeply passionate. Well, depends how you look at it. Creatively intelligent, but based on his situations and outcome, intelligence or not, may have not been in a great place financially. The fact that he was willing to sell his home with him within it. As for being physically fit, technically yes, but not exactly responsible when it comes to him pushing his body in unpractical ways. I mean, in the unreleased hike footage, when he got back to his vehicle, he was exhausted and knackered, as you probably would expect, maybe based on his age too. But in fairness, there have been people since of similar age, if not more, who have managed it and done better, but everyone is built different. And others that have gone since have been more equipped and taken care of themselves. As for Kenny Veach, he pushed himself too hard at times. And if he is supposedly intelligent, then why in the unreleased footage did he instantly grab a beer instead of actual water? That when he was drinking the beer, he couldn't swallow it, it hurt his throat, and he was, I think, coughing a little bit. That's not exactly intelligent, that. It's not about critiquing in a negative way, but it's just about making over valid observations. As for his YouTube channel, filled with videos of his excursions into the Mojave Desert, this is a major problem because it just so happens that I and other people have supposedly witnessed Kenny had other hike videos on his YouTube channel. Even this article acknowledges that Kenny had multiple videos of hikes into the Mojave Desert. So explain to me, ever since, after all these years, why nowadays, and well, I guess 2020 or 2021 onwards, that Kenny Veach's channel only consists of one hike video. What happened to the rest? We go around in circles and circles, but do enough people realise the importance behind this? Why should one M Cave hike video remain on his channel, but all other hike videos just disappear? Whether they be deleted or privatised, what good does that do? Are the deleted hidden videos the truth, the location of where the real M Cave is, or what? Beside that, it painted a picture of a man comfortable with isolation, well versed in wilderness survival, driven by a genuine love for the thrill of the unknown. He wasn't a reckless thrill seeker. Bollocks. He was deliberate, careful, and respectful of nature, but he also had a bold curiosity that sometimes pushed him further than most would dare. He wasn't reckless. Do these people know who Kenny was? Kenny Veach said himself that he covered 20 miles up a mountain and he couldn't make it back down. He had to get some rescue or signal for help and was airlifted out by a helicopter because he did damage to his leg. He was trapped on a mountain 20 miles into a hike. Not exactly great, is it? I believe there was another time Kenny was bitten by a snake as well, hence his YouTube username, SnakeBitMcGee. Examples like that, I wouldn't say Kenny Veach was careful. He was reckless in some ways, and even on his hikes where he said he wouldn't give himself much food or water, and it showed in the unreleased hike footage when he was knackered and made it back and drunk alcohol before water. Reckless behaviour. And the saying here, oh, he was careful. That is a load of bollocks. No research done, right? Everything changed when Kenny left a cryptic, provocative comment on a YouTube video discussing secret underground military bases in Nevada. Basically, the video was, son of an Area 51 technician. And ever since, Kenny Veach's comment and the whole thread, over 500 likes, the most liked comment on that YouTube video, all gone and deleted some years back. And I don't think enough people know about it. In quotes here, what Kenny did say, one time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, which is misinformation. It's not Nellis Air Force Base. It's Nellis Testing Range. The Air Force Base is the outer skirts and more east of Las Vegas, closer to Frenchman Mountains, in which a year or two ago at Frenchman Mountains, an identified body was found over there. Unless Kenny was misdirecting us. Beside that, I found a hidden cave. Entrance to the cave was shaped like a perfect capital M. I always enter every cave I find. As I begun to enter this particular one, body vibrated. Closer I got, the worse it got. I became very scared, hightailed out of there. Kenny was not armed with a gun on that occasion, hence why he brought one with him on his recorded hike. It went viral, the comment, did it? Quickly sparking theories, disbelief, dares from others. People demanded proof. Many accused him of making the story up. Well, you could understand that. Kenny decided to find the cave again mid-2014. in October. He uploaded a video titled M Cave Hike, return to the general area near Nellis Air Force Base. That's not correct. Nellis Test Range. Sheep Mountains, yes. He documented the hike. Explored abandoned mines. That's misinformation. He only explored... No, he didn't even explore any mines. He pointed the camera down one mine shaft, and that was it. No others. Offered interesting commentary. He failed to find the cave again, but the other thing that Kenny Veach failed to do was actually correctly name the locations when out there. He referred to, I think it was Sheep Peak. He referred to it as Gas Peak, but Gas Peak was further south back, closer to civilization, and more of a public area. I believe Kenny failed to describe Wild Horse Pass, and he just called it a ridge instead. And some of the mistakes made along the way. Doesn't sound like an experienced individual, even though he is. So besides failing the cave to find, that only fueled speculation. Viewers pushed harder. Some were convinced he was covering something up. Others taunted him, calling him a liar or a coward. I wonder if it'll mention what he also said. Frustrated but determined, Kenny said, "I'm going back this time with a gun. I'll be better prepared." I'm going back this time with a gun, as in his recorded hike. His recorded hike, he went with a gun, right? If I don't return, I died doing what I loved. If I don't return, I died doing what I loved. Do I remember that particular comment? Not really, if I be honest with you. Any foreshadowing of his actual outcome? Well, people like to push the suicide aspect, but here it's as if Kenny is willing to die if it means finding what he said he originally came across. The message would prove eerily. Of course, you wouldn't be able to look for it anymore because the comment's deleted. November 10th, 2014, Kenny left for his final hike, told his girlfriend Sharon Pilgrim that he was going on a solo trek to try and locate the M Cave once more. He brought minimal gear, backpack, a GoPro. Did he really take a GoPro? Do we actually know it is a GoPro? It was a camera on a tripod. A big tripod, to say the least. A 9mm handgun for safety. He didn't take his GPS. He didn't bring emergency supplies for an extended trip. That decision would later seem strange for a hiker as seasoned as Kenny. He never came back. Oh, no. How it's described here, with the exception of the GoPro, which I think is incorrect, the items that Kenny took with him, that was not November 10th, it was October. November 10th, when Kenny Veach set out on his supposed final hike, unknown to him or unknown to others around him, that Kenny did not take his proper camera. That Kenny Veach, yes, may have taken a handgun second time round and the backpack. He supposedly took a camera just for taking photos, from what the girlfriend or ex-girlfriend had said on online post-death of Kenny onwards. That when it came to the October one, Kenny went out for a day hike. When Kenny went out on the November one, he went out for an extended, overnight hike, 2 days or so. This article has got it all mixed up. This is not good. After 3 days with no contact, Kenny's girlfriend notified authorities. Bollocks, that's incorrect, because the facts state in the official police report, and it's all documented and it's on my channel, that the girlfriend decided to report Kenny Veach missing 7 to 8 days later. That's not normal. In a missing person case, the most critical hours are 24 hours. And then onwards, the chances of survival drop drastic. And yeah, okay, Kenny went out there for a day or two. You don't hear from him. The next day, you don't hear anything. Then maybe it's time to report him missing. But no, you wait 7 days in total. That is not normal behaviour. Very strange. A massive search operation was launched involving helicopters, ground teams, and search and rescue dogs. Didn't take long to find the first and last clue. His cell phone was discovered near an abandoned mineshaft, the mineshaft, resting on a rock as if carefully placed. Bollocks, hold on. It wasn't just his cell phone that was found near the mine shaft. Loose change coins were found as well, which makes it seem like Kenny Veach emptied his pocket completely. And as for the claim that it looked like the phone was carefully placed, how do we even know that? Because the search and rescue team didn't even acknowledge the condition of the phone. We don't know if Kenny Veach slammed it down, chucked it down, stamped on it, gently placed it. If anyone else grabbed it and slammed it, we don't know. So you can't be claiming that. There was no blood, true. No signs of a struggle, supposedly. No other personal items. Bollocks, the coins. That's what was there. No tracks, no body, true. Search continued for days, then weeks, but Kenny had simply vanished into the desert. But to be honest, in some ways, it didn't last that long, the searches, and they gave up fairly quick. But the, you call it victim, or the family, the Veach family, didn't really go out there themselves either. The internet quickly lit up with speculation. Some believed Kenny had been the victim of an accident. He may have fallen into a hidden mine shaft, suffered dehydration, succumbed to rattlesnake bite. But seasoned hikers pointed out that his body, or at least some of his gear, should have been found. Others took a darker view that Kenny had stumbled upon something he wasn't supposed to see. A theory that refuses to die is that the M cave was located near secret government territory, Nellis Air Force Base. Not the base. The base is east, the outer skirts of Las Vegas, nowhere near. Close to the fabled Area 51. No, it's not. Nellis Test Range is closer to Area 51, but to be honest, Area 51, I think, was like 20 to 40 miles north or so. Ridiculous. Has been a long centre of conspiracy theories. Could Kenny have accidentally crossed into a restricted zone? I find that hard to believe because there's a bit of distance from the restricted zone to the actual hike area, in fairness. Some speculate he discovered a military installation or even alien technology and was silenced. You never know. This theory is fueled by the strange detail that his body was never found, even after experienced teams searched every trail and crevice he was known to hide. I don't think that... No. I don't think search and rescue searched every crevice and area. I don't believe they went down Picture Canyon and onwards. They mainly focused around up to the mine shaft and a bit over some of the mountains, and it was pretty vague anyway, right? There's also the eerie fact that he deliberately left his phone behind. It could be interpreted as an attempt to go off grid, or a final statement that he knew what he was walking into. A final statement. As for going off grid, as for leaving a bit of trace behind and going elsewhere, it's good that it's acknowledged that. Another theory is suicide. Well, at least it's calling it a theory and not a fact. Kenny had spoken openly in the past about struggling with depression, yet the girlfriend, who's a mental health professional, did not intervene that much. In a comment thread on his channel, he once wrote... Did he? In a comment thread on his channel? What video was that on exactly? Because I don't remember this. You let me know if you do. In quotes, I used to do a lot of solo hikes in my younger days, but now I'm just kind of hanging around waiting to die. Never seen that before. Supporters of this theory believe that the M Cave may have simply been a myth, his story a metaphor, his disappearance possibly planned as a poetic ending to his personal struggles. But from what the sister-in-law Susan Veach said is that whilst Kenny Veach had lost his job or walked away from one and was having financial difficulties, Kenny Veach was supposedly lined up with a new job coming up, so why would he throw that away? But there are inconsistencies. Kenny left no note. Okay. He showed no signs of despair in his final video. Exactly. And why choose such a remote and brutal death alone in the desert? Wow. For once, an article is actually questioning the suicide aspect. It's a miracle. Now, there's more counterpoints than what's briefly mentioned here. The fact that there is a text conversation with his nephew, I believe, known as Hunter Veach, and Kenny said before going out there to Hunter, if I don't find a cave, I'm going to head north 20 miles on, or 40 miles in total, possibly. 40 miles is what was said by Kenny. Also said he had a gift for Hunter. when he gets back. So Kenny planned on returning back to gift an item to his nephew, but never happened. Then there's the theory that haunts Reddit threads and conspiracy forums. The M cave was real. Kenny found it. Some believe it was a place of powerful magnetic, electromagnetic energy, perhaps military experiment site, perhaps something more mysterious. Witnesses have come forward claiming to have experienced unusual sensations in the area. Sudden disorientation, buzzing sounds, feelings of unease. Some say the desert hides ancient energies or portals, perhaps a cave that wasn't a cave at all, but something that led elsewhere. Political conversation. But to say witnesses have come forward claiming, who are those witnesses? Are these witnesses reached out to this article, this publisher? Where have they reached out to exactly? And who are these witnesses to have experienced sensations out there? Jeff Clark? Well, Jeff Clark said he felt vibrations. Jeff, are you aware of this? Do you know of any other witnesses? Very weird. In the years since, numerous people have attempted to find a cave inspired by Kenny's story. One YouTuber, that crazy Jasper. Who? Does anyone know that person? I don't. Crazy Jasper documented an expedition to retrace his steps. Many have combed the desert using satellite maps, old GPS trails, footage from Kenny's videos. No one has ever found the M Cave. Not its shape, not its entrance, not even a location that matches the terrain Kenny described. Oh no, how ignorant can you get? You've got several hikers that have come across M-shaped looking caves in the same area that Kenny walked past and said, and a place like here. It might not be the cave, but it's a M cave. Like Jeff Clark, in the same area, on the other side of the canyon rock wall, higher up, was the only and first person to have documented an M-shaped cave higher up, in which, depending on the shadows and the way they're casted, it may cover the visual look of the cave most of the time. But Crazy Jasper, never heard of that person before. I'm aware Aquachigger did a hike out there and retraced Kenny's steps and used photos and videos to compare and contrast, breaking it down bit by bit. Today, Kenny Veach remains missing. No bones, no bag, no camera, no weapon. Nothing has surfaced. Well, things have surfaced technically, as in claims which people believe as CCTV footage break-in 2018, Reiki healing store by the family. The sister Debbie Veach, the brother Raymond Veach that does classes there, breaking in 2018, showed footage of what appeared to look like Kenny breaking in. Could suggest he's alive, and if not that, sister-in-law Susan Veach received a call near to Kenny's birthday, 22nd or near November 2022. Wasn't able to answer the call at the time, but Kenny made that call, or his profile on Facebook did, which is very weird. And then afterwards said you couldn't contact him because it's been manually uninstalled the app. So someone's definitely behind the account, which is weird. But beside that, a digital ghost town where new commenters still leave messages calling him a hero, a liar, a legend. Story has become modern folklore, intersection of real disappearance and digital obsession. It's not an obsession if you're just simply interested, like how anyone else could be with reading books to bloody knitting. A man goes looking for a cave, disappears into it. Well, we don't know if he disappeared into it, whether he even found it, right? The plot line of a movie, only it really happened. Well, we don't really know. Mojave Desert keeps its secrets. Wind buries footsteps within minutes. Night swallows heat. Mountains rise like teeth against the sky. Kenny Veach walked into that landscape seeking something unknown and became part of it. We may never know what happened to him, but the story endures, whispering through dry canyons and glowing on screens late at night. And somewhere out there, maybe under sand and stone, the M cave waits silent, dark, and still untouched. So once again, an article that kind of spreads a bit of misinformation, doesn't get the details quite right, fails to nail the actual facts, and the police report goes along like the masses of humans out there with what the girlfriend says and just nods their heads like yes men, yes women, without the true research, because it is documented out there. It is documented by me. The facts show us facts there in regard to the shocking nature and behaviour of the girlfriend, reporting him missing 7 to 8 days later, not 3 days, as she claims. whole suicide aspect, but at least the article didn't go too deep into it, kind of balanced it out. The only thing that the article did right, to some extent supposedly, was some quotes by Kenny implying death, willing to die to try and find what he sets out to find and claim that is real. He's commented on some videos, he's commented on his own channel. These comments and quotes, requotes, I have never seen before. Some of which you wouldn't be able to find now because the comments are deleted, but the comments by Kenny on his own channel, might have to try and look for them. Unless it's the article pulling things out of their backside and just putting it out there when it doesn't really exist, who knows? But if any of you have seen those quotes which stand out to me, do they stand out to you? If you've seen them, I don't know, give a source, a reference, bit of an explanation down below. It could go a long way. It's just a shame that, you know, these newer people and those that are documenting and covering the case, telling the regurgitated same old story without the new information, without the new updates, but they do manage to find these quotes which I weren't aware of, which is a very weird contrast, but they don't back it up with an actual screenshot or any hard evidence. So do we really know Kenny said that, or are people thinking he said it and just throwing words into the mix just to shove a certain narrative? It does make you think, but I think the descriptions of Kenny, the descriptions from the article wasn't great, but you know, the point of doing these videos is so when new people come into the case, they're not going to get easily brainwashed or become delusional with incorrect information and so on, but they can come here, hear the real truths and the real possibilities and so on, and then you go to the channel, you go to the full playlist, which will be available top right corner, eye symbol up there, the full playlist on the Kenny Veach case, with all the stuff that I've mentioned today, referenced, will be available in the playlist itself. Be sure to leave your comments, your thoughts, questions, answers, theories and ideas below under the video. It will help with spread awareness for the case. It will help push the video out there so more people get to learn about it. And if, you know, just in general, you want to support the channel, below pinned message under the video, there is a direct PayPal link to me and channel membership. With that all being said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit the like button, share the video, and we'll see what happens next. My name is WarLike Wrath. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, good night for now.